Welcome to Reparenting Daily, your free daily guide for inner child healing and repairing the relationship with yourself. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is the daily reading, the second is a discussion of the reading, followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is peaceful binaural beats meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you could join us on this journey of self-expansion. If this is your first time here, welcome. As a celebration of passing episode 700, I've opened a free membership tier for the Patreon community so you can access additional resources and join the weekly Zoom calls for free. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now and that so many people are really struggling. My hope here is to still encourage others to continue the work on reparenting and to offer a free community where people can come together and do that. I'd also like to thank all of you who've been along on the journey so far. Just as a reminder, this is a free podcast, but you can support the project by purchasing the Reparenting Daily Journal, where you can follow us along all year. This 333-page journal gives you extra insight and resources for each week, and also provides space for you to keep your notes. Another way to support the podcast is to purchase the Fairy Tales for Reparenting series, volumes 1 through 3. This collection organizes famous and obscure fairy tales from around the world into the 3 phases of the hero's journey. While you might think that fairy tales are for kids, I'd like to challenge you. These stories contain profound truths and lessons carried down over millennia that we can use in our reparenting journey. It's a fun way to reconnect with your inner child. Each volume comprises 10 fairy tales. They include an analysis section to help you dive deeper into the message, as well as journal prompts and space to reflect on the story's meaning in your life. Lastly, you can also support the project by taking a paid Patreon subscription, by purchasing the books on the website, or by donating via Buy Me a Coffee. You can find all this information on the Support Us section of the website. So now, with these announcements out of the way, let's dive into today's practice. Today, we're going to be listening to a portion of a TED Talk entitled The Secret to Self-Control by Jonathan Bricker. Just as a reminder, we're only listening to a portion of the lecture, so I encourage you to click on the link in the show notes and listen to it in its entirety. Just as a reminder, we are in April, and the theme for this month is developing structure and discipline. We're in week 3, and the theme for this week is developing discipline. Now, the secret to self-control. This talk is very important because our issues with self-control often underpin our challenges with discipline. Perhaps emotional dysregulation, lack of resources, or connection can decrease our ability to really remain in control. This is further complicated when you're coming from a dysfunctional family background. And so this talk is shared with you today in an attempt to help you gain further skills to strengthen and buttress your self-control and to further develop your discipline. Without further ado, here's Jonathan Bricker.
Let me tell you about my mom. My mom was 42 years old when I was born, and she started exercising for the first time in her life. She started by running around the block, and then she started doing 5K races, and then she started doing 10K races, and after that, she ran a marathon, and after that, my mom did a triathlon. By the time she was 57 years old, my mom was trekking uphill to the base camp of Mount Everest. And let me tell you about my dad. When I was a kid, my dad used to take me to science classes. He was also my calculus teacher in high school. I wanted to crawl under the desk. Well, I learned something important from my mom, the value of health. And I learned something important from my dad, the value of science. And these 2 values have guided me on my trek through life. And they've helped me appreciate an epidemic that we are all facing. And it's not Ebola. Instead, it is the epidemic of unhealthy living. 500 million people worldwide are obese. And you would think that 50 years after the first U.S. Surgeon General's report on the dangers of tobacco was published, that we'd be beyond the problem of smoking. Today, 1 billion people worldwide use tobacco. Tobacco and obesity are 2 of the most preventable causes of premature death. Solving these problems is like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle. We engage in unhealthy behaviors because of our genetics, because of brain neurotransmitters, because of environmental influences such as peers and the media. Each of those pieces of the puzzle are not things that you and I can solve on our own. But there is one piece of this puzzle that may hold the key: our choices about what we do with our cravings to engage in addictive behaviors like smoking or in overeating. Our choices. There is a new science of self-control that may hold the key to reversing these epidemics. It's called willingness. Willingness means allowing your cravings to come and to go while not acting on them by smoking or eating unhealthy. But actually, I'm not talking about willpower, and I'm not talking about power through your cravings. Instead, I'm talking about a different notion of cravings that looks like this: dropping the struggle with your cravings, opening up to them, letting them be there, and making peace with them. Now, at this point, you may be very skeptical. I was, when I first heard about it years ago. A friend of mine came to me with a book on willingness. He said, "Jonathan, this book will change your life forever." And I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll check it out." So I went through it and thought, nah, it's a bunch of psychobabble. Toss it aside. Until some years later, when my wife brought me to a workshop on willingness at the University of Washington. And I was blown away. So then I read the book, and then I read a lot of books on willingness, and I got trained in it. And what I learned was that willingness is part of acceptance in the acceptance and commitment therapy approach to behavior change. It's a broad approach to behavior change. It's being used to help people with anxiety disorders, with addictions. Even some innovative companies are now using it to help improve their employees' performance and reduce their stress. Now, to understand why I was blown away, you have to understand the world that I live in. In my research world, a common way you help people quit smoking and lose weight is you teach them to avoid their cravings, avoid thinking about smoking, distract yourself from food cravings. There's a song from a Broadway show that captures this perfectly. It goes like this. When you start to get confused because of thoughts in your head, don't feel those feelings. Hold them in instead. Turn it off like a light switch. Just go click. We do it all the time when you're feeling certain feelings that just don't seem right. Treat those pesky feelings like a reading light and turn them off. We all live in this world where the song we keep hearing is turn off the bad feelings.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed this TED Talk by Jonathan Brecker on developing and strengthening your self-control. Now, the one area that I would like to zoom in and focus on, of course, we only listen to a portion, so if you click on the link in the show notes, you'll listen to the remainder where he offers you some additional solutions. But today, I would like to focus in on willingness and that ability to pause before taking an action and keeping yourself stuck on that loop. The ability that you have to take a pause, to examine your current emotions and feelings before taking an action or falling back into a habit. This space, this gap, is where you have the opportunity to effect your change, to shift your identity, to shift your timeline, as people are saying now, to regain and to build self-control. It's taking time to understand and examine yourself, your thoughts and feelings that keep you stuck on this pattern, that keep you stuck in this loop. Knowledge and insight is your first step if you're having difficulty with self-control. What are the forces driving you and keeping you stuck when you clearly would like to make another decision? That's why I shared this with you today, and I hope that you will listen to the rest of it because there are some great tips that he shares at the end in the second half. But let's go ahead and think about some journal prompts for today. Number one, how were you taught about self-control growing up? What did you observe? Were there any explicit lessons, or was it something that was left untouched? Number 2, which areas in your life do you exhibit very strong self-control? And what has made that easier for you to manage? And number 3, where do you challenge most with self-control? Are there certain scenarios, situations, or people that cause your self-control to become shaky? That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself and please do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please find a place where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for the next 10 minutes. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you most comfortable today. Just take some time to listen to yourself. Next, be sure that you're taking time to be with your breath and to connect more fully with your body. Don't be disturbed or overwhelmed by your thoughts. Simply allow them to pass. Just observe them. Do not engage with your thoughts. Only be mindful of them passing, as if they are leaves drifting down top river. Use this time to connect with yourself. Whatever time of day you are listening to this, Namaste.